prayer and great and wide differences between the style of the prayers of certain people and different people based on their background. There's something which is very seen, very acknowledged, especially for those who travel a lot. You see wonders. And the thing is, as the sister said exactly, sometimes when you try to correct people, they get very offended and they take it personal. They assume that my madhab or my culture is the right Islam and otherwise is not really Islam. So there is a very important step before informing people whether your prayer is right or wrong and what you need to do, which is to know what Islam is all about and about al-madhahib, the evolution of fiqh. Who was al-Imam Abu Hanifa, and al-Imam al-Shafi'i, and al-Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And indeed, we do have a program called Evolution of Fiqh that explain in detail the difference between the madhahib, and they are not different sects. Rather, they are all scholars of Islam, of the mainstream of the Ummah. But still, because of the cultural impact on certain people, especially those who are not exposed to different cultures, they take it very personal. That's why we have to keep in mind, and I discussed this in the program of the Prophet's prayer, that as-salah consists of arkan, which means pillars. If you don't do any of the pillars, the prayer will be invalid. Wajibat and sunan. If you miss any of the sunan, it could be made up by offering the prostrations of forgetfulness and so on. And there are hayat, like how to offer or perform certain moves in the prayer, which if you do it according to how the Prophet ﷺ used to pray, that will be perfect. Why? Because he said, "Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli," and this is how I named the program. Pray as you have seen me praying, the Prophet's prayer. And the companions have narrated and reported to us the exact description of how the Prophet ﷺ used to pray. It is amazing that those who used to pray behind him describe the movement of his beard from behind, because they paid close attention to everything, every move, every utterance that the Prophet ﷺ used to do in the prayer. It should be more than sufficient when you read the Prophet's prayer, how he used to pray according to the sound narrations and ahadith, like you're watching a video. That's it. You should stick to that. One should not say, but I am following the Maliki madhab, I let go my arms. You heard that the Prophet ﷺ used to place the right over the left on the chest. This is for both men and women. Somebody also say, no, I'm Hanafi, I have to put it beneath the navel. Well, if there is no reference, or if the more sound reference is this way, how the Prophet ﷺ used to place it, you should stick to that. But in any case, those who stick to different hayat, it would not affect their prayer. It would not affect the validity of the prayer. They will be missing a word, yes, of course, but it would not affect the validity of the prayer. Quickly, in the format of the prayer, there is no difference between the description of the man's prayer and the woman's prayer. It is the same. The Prophet ﷺ said, pray as you have seen me praying. Not in a single hadith he said that a woman may be praying different or should pray differently in the sitting or in the standing or bowing down. The only difference is, the preference is to pray at home. As the Prophet ﷺ said, وَصَلَاتُهَا فِي بَيْتِهَا خَيْرٌ لَهَا. If she prays at home, it's better than praying in the masjid. Well, the opposite is true in the case of the man. If she prays at home in the prayers, which normally we recite out loud, such as Fajr, Maghrib, and Isha, can she recite out loud? If she is leading women in the prayer, yes, she may recite out loud. If she's praying by herself to the point that she could hear herself, that is permissible, and also in the night prayer.